Okay, in this little exercise, we're going to create a two-state button to apply in Adobe Muse. And I thought for fun, I'll do what I'll call a squishy looking button. It's as if the button was made of rubber, and when you press it, it looks pressed down. You can see the pushed in version right now. And if I click off of that layer, you can see the normal state. So there's the normal state, just a flat colored go button. And then when we mouse over it, it appears to be pushed in a bit. So I'll actually show you how you can create this effect. It's not too hard to do. And I'll start a new file from scratch here. Before I move on though, just a prerequisite of creating a Photoshop button for Muse is that the different states need to be turned into smart objects and the visibility needs to be turned on. I'll remind you that when we finish the other one, but remember that the layers need to be converted to smart objects. Okay, let's start a brand new file here. And I'll call it Squishy Button. And let's make it 128 pixels square. And background transparent. Click OK. And to start, I can use one of the two tools. I'll use the ellipse tool nested with the vector tool, so the vector ellipse tool. And I guess I can zoom up here a bit. And I'll just draw a circle that's almost the full size of this square area. I am holding my shift key down to constrain. And I'll go and I'll change that color to a green. I'll have to do a fill. I should have done that before I started. I can just go fill, and actually there's one of my recent colors. And for the stroke, I will set it to black, and we will make it a bit thicker. Let me just type in 6 here. 6, hit my tab key, there we go. And I'll zoom back down to 100%, and we're good. So I've got my ellipse. I'm going to put some text over top of that now. I'm just going to switch this to white. Go to my text tool. Now I got to be careful clicking over a vector shape. I want to make sure it's just straight text, so I'll probably have to start up here where I can see my dotted line is a square, initiating independent text. And with my shift key down, I'm just going to type in uppercase G and O. And then I'll grab my move tool and I'll bring that into the scene here. Now if I want to adjust that and it's snapping, I can either turn off the snapping, or while on the move tool, I'm just going to use my arrow keys to nudge it into place. If I want to edit the text, I can double click the text icon to highlight it and change some sizes here. So if I wanted to change that to 50, for example, Helvetica bold, set to bold, and I'm good with that actually. And I'm just going to adjust the positioning of that with my arrow keys. There we go. Now I need to merge these two layers together for this to work. So I am embedding, I am committing in this case. So with my shift key down, I select both layers, and it's merge layers right here, which you can see is, actually you can't see it because it's off the screen, but it's Command E. Command E. Then I will duplicate that layer. Duplicate layer. And I might as well give it a name. I'll call it over. It'll be the over state. And in fact, I'll rename this first one to normal. So that's the normal state. Now I need to go in and do a little bit of work on the overstate. So I'll click on there, and I will zoom up one level. I'll go in with my elliptical marquee tool. I'll start in the middle, and then with my option key down, and then my shift key down, I constrain it from the middle out, and just go about this big. And again, I can nudge with my arrow keys to center that. And what I want to do is I want to do a little pinch effect. So the effect is under the filters, distort, and it's called pinch. And I'm pinching it at about 50% here. Unfortunately, there's no preview on this one for some reason. You can see a bit of a pseudo preview here. Oh, you do see the preview in the window. Sorry, you don't see it on the screen, but you do see it in the window here. And I click OK, and I'm good with that. And then I want to emphasize this a little more with some lighting. So I'm going to soften this marquee line while it's still selected. Go up to Select, Modify, Feather, and I've done this before at a setting of 4 pixels, and I'm good with 4 pixels. I click OK. You can't really see what's going on here with the feathering, but you will once you start painting. So with my brushes set to black and white, my chip set to black and white, I go to my paintbrush, my brush tool. Now I've set my opacity to about 30 and my flow to about 20. And my brush is about yay big. And the highlight will be down here and the shadow will be up here. So the white goes down here. And I'll just do some passes here. I'll come in gently and I'm using my mouse. And I can hide that marquee, Command H. I had to hit it twice for some reason. And when I come in, you can start to see the buildup of that white. And I'm just kind of following that curve as if it's a rubber button. And I can always change the size of this brush. And I can come in here. And so coming in at that very light opacity lets it have a very soft spray. And it does build. So it would eventually become opaque. So there's the highlight. Let me switch my color chips. Black foreground. Do the exact same thing in the top half of the circle. Kind of just washing away as you get to the parts where those colors join, if you will. If I want to turn this down, it's now shift number. So shift 1 would bring it to 10%. Actually, no, not on this opacity, just 1. 0, 10%, and I'll come in with a light spray here. Okay, so there's my squishy button. I'll just zoom out. And if I was to turn off that layer, you'd see it goes from there to there. I'll turn back the visibility, and I'll highlight the name, right-click, create, convert to smart object. And I'll do the same on the normal layer. Convert to smart object. Save my file. Save as, and I'm just going to save it in my same folder. It's called squishybutton.psd. And we're good to go on that. And that's how you create your various states. I could have put a third and a fourth state, as long as, again, I turn those layers, which represent the states, into smart objects. And the layers also must have the visibility turned on. And that's how you prepare a Photoshop button for Adobe Muse.